Mayor Martin S. Horwitz, who has served on the Board of Education, City Council, and then as mayor for the last 4 years. Is that right, Mr. Horwitz? And then his challenger is Justin Berns, who has been on City Council for how many years, Mr. Berns?
I have been on City Council for nearly 8 years.
Nearly 8 years. Okay, this is another case where you have to be sure your mic's on.
On the time.
I'm giving each of you 3 minutes for an opening statement because there's only 2 candidates. So you may start, Mr. Berns.
Thank you. Before I get started here this evening, I need to say that former council member Ken Krause passed away earlier today. Ken was one of those people that made this city great. My thoughts and prayers are with his family this evening. Now to my speech, my opening statement. I want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Beachwood School PTO, an organization near and dear to my heart, as I have the honor of previously serving as both president and co-president of this great organization. And thank you to the citizens of Beachwood for taking the time to watch tonight. Rather than tell you about my nearly 30 years of service to the city of Beachwood, I want to talk about my plans for the city. Upon being elected mayor, I intend to have face-to-face discussions with the owners of Beachwood Place to determine how we can work together to return Beachwood Place to be a best-in-class destination. As we know, the mall accounts for more than 10% of the Beachwood School's income. I will have a powerhouse economic development department that will aggressively pursue bringing business and income into the city. There are numerous infrastructure projects that we must pursue. As a developer, I have substantial experience managing construction projects and will use that experience to complete sewer projects and work to solve flooding issues throughout the city. The Chagrin-Richmond 271 corridor project has been discussed for numerous years and is potentially a project that can be funded with new federal infrastructure project money. This intersection and adjacent roadways, one of the highest accident-prone stretches in the state, needs attention. It is imperative that we reduce this risk. 85 to 90% of the city's operating funds come from employees who work but do not reside in Beachwood. Our city has over 126 lane miles of roadways. This past year, we rebuilt less than 1/2 mile on Biscayne and repaved no streets. We need to address roadway issues on an ongoing basis. The Beachwood Aquatic Center playground is old and outdated. We need to update the equipment and replace the wood chips with rubberized surface that is safer to play on and requires far less maintenance. Likewise, we need to add new recreational facilities like pickleball courts, which have been requested by so many residents. I understand there are certain areas that are in need of street lighting, and we need to find ways to finance and install the necessary equipment. Beachwood has always been amongst the most desirable communities for public employees to work. It had always been a place where the employees felt appreciated. Unfortunately, that is not the case right now, as employee morale is lacking. As mayor, I will be extremely visible to employees, talking with them and understanding their needs. There are so many projects you tackle as your next mayor. I hope I can prove to voters of Beachwood that I have the knowledge, skill set, energy, and passion to restore the operations, safety, and reputation of our great city. Thank you.
And Mr. Horwitz.
In Beachwood, community is everything. Go to a block party and talk to young families. Talk to a new business owner or a realtor who's selling houses before they even go on the market. Ask our seniors how much they enjoy our services that enable them to be independent and involved. As mayor, talking to Beachwood people is the best part of my job. And here is what they tell me. Everyone wants to live in or run a business in Beachwood. With the best schools, best city services and amenities, we are the envy of other suburbs. Under my leadership, we've also become the most fiscally healthy we've ever been. The state auditor just gave us an award with distinction for the 3rd year in a row, a major achievement. If anyone knows Beachwood at all, you know our excellent reputation speaks for itself. Our city needs a champion, someone who will celebrate our residents, businesses, and community institutions, and our wonderful city employees. I'm running for re-election because I love Beachwood, and I'm the most qualified candidate, and the stakes could not be higher. Beachwood is a $60 million business with hundreds of employees. The mayor is responsible for the safety and security of over 100,000 people every day. In just the last 4 years as your mayor, my team and I have increased security throughout the city and at the mall by investing in manpower, equipment, and new technology. We've built a dog park, community gardens, and block party program. Now we're overseeing the expansion of street lighting, sewer improvements, and a fitness court in the park. We've created real economic development that will bring in millions for our city and schools. We've formed safety partnerships with schools, businesses, and the Jewish Federation. And finally, we kept the city safe and strong during COVID, earning national recognition. In this race, I am the only candidate with 26 years of real elected experience, which is vital to running a complex city. I am an attorney, former president of the Board of Education, and former president of the City Council. I've grown up here, and my wife Sandy and I have been proud to raise our 2 children here. They say a person is known by the company they keep. I am proud to be endorsed by the County Democratic Party, the Beachwood Democratic Ward Club, and our next Congresswoman, Chantel Brown. Current leaders, including State Rep Ken Smith, County Executive Armin Budish, County Councilwoman Sunny Simon, Mayor Ben Holbert of Woodmere, and Board of Education President Dr. Brian Weiss are also supporting me. Finally, I am thankful to be endorsed by the Black Women's PAC, the Cuyahoga Democratic Women's Caucus, and the Cleveland Stonewall Democrats. They recognize that I'm dedicated to fighting for civil rights, women's rights, and equal rights, and against harassment of any sort. I'm running a positive campaign because I believe in our success, and I'm excited about our future. We have many new programs in the works, and with the second term, I can finish them strong and without disruption. I'm honored to serve this amazing community. Thank you for the opportunity to earn your vote once again.
Thank you. I want to make clear, however, that this race is nonpartisan. It's not Democratic or Republican Party involved here, but I understand about the endorsements. It's just I want to make sure voters know that there's no party affiliation on the ballot. I don't want to, many of you probably watched the Cleveland Jewish News debate last week, so I didn't want to repeat a lot of the things that came up then, although some of them will have to be. I wanted to talk about, first, employee morale. Now, Mr. Berns, you mentioned that it's at a low point. Could you respond to that first, Mr. Horwitz, and then we'll talk about how Mr. Berns sees it? 1 minute answers, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely do not understand the statement, Mr. Berns. If you look at my website, you will find several letters from about several dozen employees that document what kind of a leader I am in the city. I was asked by I just negotiated 5 union contracts. I was asked by the police union specifically when they started to negotiate the final end of that contract. We all work together through my directors and through the employees. I'm through the city hall and most of the buildings every week. We have fun, we create together. The only thing I could probably do better is create Taco Tuesday, because there is no morale problem. When you look at the work we've done, the accomplishments we've done, you cannot get through the list of things that we have accomplished that I just read off to you if you have low morale. This is just a fake issue. It's absolutely a fake issue. Check my website, mayorhorwitz.com. You will see letters from our employees, and you'll understand there is no issue.
Okay, Mr. Berns.
Thank you. Well, the reason you'll see the letter from the employees is because all those employees report directly to the mayor, and frankly, if they didn't sign it, there would be a good possibility that they may not be employees of the city of Beachwood anymore. The union employees, on the other hand, don't feel that way. And there is a lack of morale in City Hall or around City Hall. If you get out there and talk to people, they may not tell you that, but I can tell you, I do talk to them, you see me talking to them, and I hear them.
So you're talking about service center employees?
I'm talking about the service department employees, I'm talking about the firefighters, and I'm talking about the police officers. There is definitely a lack of morale.
So how can we fix this?
Well, here, when we went into, and I was on city council, we appropriated $100,000 for negotiations. When we started off those negotiations with our police department, we sent in these attorneys rather than the mayor going in and having a discussion with the police about how we can negotiate the next contract. It ended up that we ended up giving the police, and frankly every union, 2.5% raises. We did get some concessions on health care, and I believe that potentially that the mayor, the finance director, and our law director could have gotten those same things without us spending tens of thousands of dollars of funds in legal fees.
Do you want to answer that, Mr. Horwitz, before I move on?
Yeah, very quickly. Everything that we did was within range of other cities. We hired an attorney because I didn't want to do the negotiations, because that's not an expertise of mine, and I wanted to stay out of it. I was asked to be part of the negotiations because ultimately I helped, because they trust me. And ultimately, we changed a structure of our health insurance that had been in existence for 15 years, and it will save the city thousands and tens of thousands of dollars. Listen, whenever anybody who's ever done negotiations, unions are not going to be happy, but this is what we did. Everyone's happy now. I just came from a block party on yesterday. I was talking to somebody who works with our building department and our inspectors, and the guy says to me, all the inspectors love you. I don't know why he would say that. That doesn't sound like a crisis in the city hall.
Well, and I won't continue on that subject, but Mr. Berns also brought up with the Jewish News, there are complaints. Just talk about, are you concerned about misallocation of funds and councils obtaining enough public bids on projects? Those came up.
Well, here, the city itself, okay, on the bidding, the city has put it out for bid properly, okay? I don't want there to be anything misconstrued about what I said. I think everybody understands what I said. The issue is that on many projects, we've only gotten one bid on these projects, and then we've been prepared to go
Just
in.
move the mic a little
I'm
closer.
sorry. And then we've been prepared to go in and authorize those or award those contracts. That's not the way we should be doing things. We need to get multiple bids on projects that we're going to go and award them. Something came up such as street lighting for nearly $900,000. We got one bid. It's not that company's fault for bidding on it, but we received no other bids. And that's not the way to do it. For the exercise equipment that Mr. Sinneberg spoke about, we got one bid for concrete pads. It's probably 4 times higher than the cost of what it should have been. And we were prepared to go ahead and move on that as well. The mayor did take those off the table at the very last minute, which I applauded him for. But nonetheless, that's not the way cities ought to act. We need multiple bids on items.
Mr. Horwitz, how do you get multiple bids?
Well, you put the subject out for bid, and sometimes you get multiple bids, sometimes you don't. I want to go back to one issue, though. Mr. Berns said in the Jewish News debate, he questioned the financial structure and whether or not there were improprieties. He put it up on his Facebook page the next day. I called our finance director because I thought, did I miss something? Is there something we're doing financially wrong? And our finance director hit the roof. He ultimately wound up sending a letter to the Jewish News to say that there is nothing improper about the way we bid. Everything goes through our law department. We never accept a bid that's not through our law department. And our financial rating is good. I made reference to the award we got from the auditor for the 3rd year in a row. So the allegation that there's financial problems or that there's bidding problems, we could not function as a city legally without going through our finance director, our auditor, our law department. We just couldn't be functioning that way.
Mr. Berns, what would help putting out a new request for proposals? Or, I mean, how would you solve this problem? This is not, Beachwood alone does not face this problem.
Well, here, it's 2021, and certain projects you just don't do this year. I'm in construction, and as we all know, trades are very busy. So you're going to get high numbers right now, or people just don't have the time to do things. As far as the misallocation of funds, I can tell you we want to talk about things. We have an amphitheater that now we're talking about, and we spent money for the city engineer to design part of that amphitheater. That wasn't a good use of funds. The street lighting portion, we have G. Kern moving into the city. We paid our city engineer to design specifications for the street lighting that frankly wasn't a good allocation or use of the funds. So these are some of the things I'm talking about. I am not talking about the city doing something. The mayor did something wrong. The city didn't do anything wrong. And the idea that the finance director sent this letter to the Jewish News, the only way that happens is if the mayor authorizes the letter to be sent out. So the mayor authorized the finance director on city time to go in and write that letter. That's just wrong. That shouldn't have happened.
We have to cover just a few more subjects before we have to have your final statements. I'm going to go from the sublime to the ridiculous here. Maybe, well, I shouldn't have said that maybe, but there was somebody sending a question about the dog park. And here, you know, I have not been to the dog park because I don't live here and I can't go. But over the, why is the dog park, this is a question a resident sent in. Why is it that the dog park has new turf, lighting, security-controlled access, and security cameras, and the kids' playgrounds by the pool still have wood chips as a playground surface and no security measures? Go, Mr. Berns, you can go first.
Yeah, Karen, initially on the dog park, I didn't have a dog when the dog park was being built, and I was not a fan of doing it. Over time, during the discussions, I changed my viewpoint, and I did support the dog park. As a matter of fact, I think that I suggested that we move to artificial turf, because if you have a dog park with natural grass, it's going to be a mud thing. So I'm glad that we did that. Why we have a nice dog park and don't have improvements to the playground, we haven't done it. Under my administration, we're going to do it, and I don't have kids anymore that are going to play at the playground, and frankly, the mayor doesn't either, he's grandkids. They don't live here, I don't want to speak for him. But nonetheless, we need to improve the playground with a rubberized surface and put in modern air equipment. The dog park also is not just for dogs, it brings people together. So it was a good idea.
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Horwitz.
Okay, I will admit that my grandchildren do come over to the playground. Let me just say, first of all, one of the things that I really am a supporter of is the sense of community. And the dog park is designed for a sense of community, as was the block party program. It also represents what I call leadership. Our prior mayor was asked many times by several councilmen to build a dog park and kept saying, no, it can't be done, too expensive, too this, too that. When I became mayor, I acted on it with the help of Karen Carmen, who's just amazing in the project. She's the one that suggested the AstroTurf. And what we found is the dog park on a per capita basis is visited more than the pool. There are over 450 families that are registered for that dog park. It is the biggest meeting place for Beachwood residents. Now that doesn't, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We did the dog park already a year or two ago. We are, with our new community service director, Mr. Schroeder, who we heard about before, we are actually making plans to do a complete review of the playground, and that will be modified.
There's a question here that probably I will direct to Mr. Horwitz first. We've heard a lot about diversity in the campaign. However, all of the directors the mayor has hired have been white males. Now, I don't know if this is true, so just clear it up if it's not. Including the new police chief, fire chief, community service director, and law director. Why haven't any minorities been hired in leadership roles within the city? Or women, for that matter. And when it comes to you, Mr. Berns, if you're mayor, would you continue this practice or be more open to a diverse leadership team? So Mr. Horwitz can start.
Yeah, first of all, we can't pick the pool that we get for when we go out looking for directors. We had about 21 people who applied for the position of police chief. In the final 4, there was a black individual who was very qualified. We recently hired a woman assistant deputy chief, was the first deputy. One of the things I'm very proud of is when I came in and we have a new fire chief, we had an all-white male fire department, which had persisted for many years. And one of my directives to the fire chief was to work on trying to diversify that. We now have, we've hired black firefighters and inspectors, and also we have a woman who's working there as a firefighter and EMS. It is our goal, it is in our hiring policies, it's in our purchasing policies. We have to work with the pool that we have.
Thank you. Mr. Berns?
Certainly I want to hire the best people available for any position, regardless of what it is. I would strive to hire a department director essentially that looks like the city of Beachwood. But again, it depends who applies for the position. Now the mayor did just recently hire a deputy police chief who is a female, which is great. The city council, frankly, had been asking the mayor to hire a deputy police chief years ago, so that frankly, when our last police chief left us, we wouldn't be high and dry without a chief for some time. We were, and I'm glad to see that the position is filled. I think the timing is kind of strange of when this all happened, and we're in election season here now.
One more question. GE Current, and we'll look at it from the opposite way as we did before. How would you build on the success of the GE Current occupancy? Mr. Berns, economic development question, in other words.
Well, here,
I think we need to go back a little bit. You had this question in council before, and I think it's important to note that the city didn't bring GE Current to Beachwood. Chris Merrigan, who bought part of our public works building, brought GE Current to Beachwood. So the city did not poach. Chris Merrigan approached GE Current and knew that they were looking to move. There's people like Chris Merrigan, there's other developers out there that hopefully recognize that Beachwood is a place where you want to do business, and where we are a city that you can get things done. That's how it's always been. We need more of that. There's more opportunities in Commerce Park and along Sugar Boulevard. Our buildings in the city are, frankly, for the most part, they're stale, and they need to be renovated. So hopefully more developers recognize that, and the city needs to give incentives to developers to encourage
You're
them.
talking about not just businesses, but mixed use.
I'm talking about
Everything.
and everything, because as you've heard, we have everything on the table now for developers, pretty much up and down Sugar Boulevard and Harvey Science Park and you know, at Beachwood Place.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Horwitz.
Well, I think Councilman Berns is right. For the most part, first of all, going back to the question to council, there was no poaching. You belong to this anti-poaching agreement.
They were clear on that.
Yeah, they were clear. But the credit goes here to the two gentlemen who run our economic development department. When we look at development, we're very fortunate to have Jimmy Heller in the department who's built a lot of our city. The importance of GE Current is that it represents the beginning of a transformation in Commerce Park, which is a 40-year-old commercial area that we want to build into biotech, high-tech, and current type. It's not going to be light industrial or manufacturing. We have 300,000 square feet in that building, and now we've rented about 40,000. We still have 60,000 to go. When I look at all this, this is money that will, tax money for the schools and for the city, and this will also lead to the cut-through road on Harvard, and eventually more development in Chagrin Highlands. This is a big package we're working on with industrial commercial properties, and it'll represent a whole change in the city.
Okay, thank you. I know we've cut you very little time, but I would like you to make your closing statements. You can have 2 minutes each. You can cover any subject that I haven't brought up or that was brought up with council. And I'm hoping everyone will also go watch the Cleveland Jewish News debate, because it was a whole hour long and covered a lot more subject matter. Let's see, Mr. Horwitz, I think you should go first this time, right? So why you want to continue to be mayor, and what good you will do?
Well, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I started out tonight by telling you the community is everything. It's what makes our schools strong, our residents happy, and our neighborhoods feel like home. In my last 4 years as mayor, I've worked tirelessly to strengthen our city today and plan for years to come. Now I'm overseeing dozens of programs that I helped start, from increasing public safety, expanding city services, improving vital infrastructure, and creating economic development to keep our tax base strong. Through my efforts, we're making strides in sustainability, increasing the representation of women and minorities in the city workforce, and creating new partnerships to keep our community secure. With so much progress and so much in progress, I'm asking for 4 more years so we can finish this important work together. Let's not delay or disrupt what we've worked so hard to build. My professional and elected experience is the key to moving us forward. On my website, mayorhorwitz.com, you can read unsolicited signed statements from dozens of City Hall employees about the respectful, caring environment I have created there. You can also read letters from real Beachwood residents attesting to my character and effectiveness as mayor. Finally, the fact that my endorsements from people running government, not retired from government, should tell you I have relationships and support necessary to lead. I've knocked on many doors this election, attended almost every block party, and tried to meet as many residents as possible. But if I haven't reached you yet, you can reach me with questions at 216-403-6868. Tomorrow, I'm also holding a special telephone town hall between 7 and 8 p.m. with you directly. Please visit my website, mayorhorwitz.com, to sign up so you can participate live. Serving as your mayor has been the greatest privilege of my life. After tonight, I hope you can see that I am still fighting for you every step of the way. Thank you for allowing me to serve our community, and thank you for your support for 1 more term.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Berns, why should people vote for you?
As anyone who saw the CJN debate will attest, I am not a career politician. What I am is a sincerely committed public servant. I do not claim to have all the answers and all the solutions. I do have the energy and skill set to find the best answers and solutions for the residents and businesses of the city of Beachwood. For almost 3 decades, I have directly and successfully managed construction and operations of residential homes, apartment complexes, and industrial buildings. I have dealt with hundreds of customers, government officials and inspectors, building trades, and public utilities while maintaining a reputation of reliability, accountability, integrity, and respect. I appreciate the beauty of the diversity of Beachwood's population, and I am energized by the challenge to improve the experience of our seniors. I appreciate both the necessity and the value of best-in-class recreational facilities for all members of our community. I know that our residents want action on a number of infrastructure needs, and I want to move these projects forward rather than to continue talking about them. I believe our residents want to have best-in-class shopping experiences, and they want to feel safe in Beachwood Place and throughout our entire community. I ask the residents of Beachwood to hire me as their mayor, not for my campaigning skills, but for my proven management skills. Hire me for my in-depth understanding of our infrastructure needs. Hire me for my understanding of the needs of city employees who are so necessary to the successful operations of our city. Hire me because there is no one more committed, focused, and capable to return our city to being the envy of communities in Northeast Ohio. I respectfully ask for your vote on or before November 2nd. Thank you. And I've been endorsed by former Mayor Gordon and 8 former council members who are all very integral in putting this city together. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you to our audience for holding on for more than 2 hours tonight. But I think we've learned a lot, so thank you.